Remembering, we're also trying to cover on the agenda the thing about your strategy, so it's not just the game, it's actually about your strategy. I've been asked to feedback from my group, but if anybody would rather do it, I'd rather come forward. The first thing I'd say is that it was a lot more lively than I expected it would be. So it seemed to work for me. We were allowed 10 green points for these methods, and we weren't always sure whether they were methods or actually engagement tools. I suppose it's the same thing. We chose 11 instead of 10, so we slightly exceeded our amount.
Can I give you a nudge towards what your goals were and what you were trying to achieve with those?
Good idea. We started off with an organisational goal, set of goals, which was about viability and sustainability and so on. But we quite quickly then moved to thinking what good would we achieve in the world, really. And one of the key themes came out was about the trust engagement with the community, but going further than that, engage with the community so the trust can be better, but also so the community could improve its own lives, so that this idea that engagement itself was empowering, which is very important obviously for the rest of us. And the highest level goal, I suppose, is one that Janice Owens had come up with many years ago, which is that it should be a place where people want to live and stay, or want to move to even. And added to that was that people should have the choice to do that. Another goal was about sharing life skills so that people can enhance the standard of living. It was suggested that one way of doing that was to get more economic activity on the estate. Because if you remember, we did the mapping, a lot of the activity, shop sales were off the area. But there was also another strand running through our conversation, which was that the work that we want to do is almost global or out there, and that what we got is so good that we want to improve it by transferring it and sharing it with others, and that we can help other communities and they can help us. So that this word transfer was quite a good one, I thought somebody came up with. Transfer learning, skills and enrichment. And this, it wasn't actually said, but I got the feeling that it was about saying that if we can make things better and help other things make things better, people make things better, there's a sort of virtuous cycle there that you can get into. And another, possibly it's about resources or methods, but is to realise there's actually resources already available on the estate, like community flat, community centre. It could be used then better. Does anybody want to add anything to that?
No, you said it all. You said it all.
Very briefly then, on the means of engagement, I suppose we could just highlight a few things that. Can we suggest a couple of things that we threw out? One of them was Twitter, wasn't it?
Twitter was out.
Yeah. Didn't like Twitter.
Was out. Yes.
Because it was too cutting edge, too new, almost unnecessary. That was the feeling. And the counter argument to that was: is it that there's another world, and the world's moving out there, and that rather than us reflecting what we're comfortable with, we should actually be entering into the new territory, be ahead of the curve sort of thing. And that was left as a discussion. So that was one thing that was out. What was one thing that was definitely in? A definite one was, what do you think was a good example?
It was the Facebook, I think.
Yeah, that surprised me that Facebook was Facebook very strongly supported as a medium. Some very strong examples of where it really does work for people. Somebody said a new Facebook site about 125 young people almost instantly into communication, showing videos, showing ideas. So to me the lesson there, because if anybody invites me to join Facebook, I just ignore it. Sorry about that. But to me the lesson was to suddenly realise that I might be wrong about this, that it may be doing a lot of good and I have no idea about that. So that's why this sort of game is coming. Let's not go into it because you can come and look at these. But the resources and roles, really it's something about, there's two themes for me here. One is about people going out there, outreach, marketing, making this happen for real beyond our own walls, which is quite a job. And the other is about supporting people to do it. So you need the right software or it won't work, and it needs to be affordable, and there needs to be somebody that you can actually understand who can help people, so that you don't get the scenario that I usually get. I start on a new program, and by the next day something's gone wrong with it, and I just switch it off and that's it finished. And if you see the statistics of what people don't use something like 97% of what's on the computer or on the mobile phone, because they stick to the very thin window. So the danger here obviously is that you'd have all this stuff and it would just be redundant straight away. Anything else from our group then? Did our group think this game was worthwhile or not?
It is worthwhile. It made us thinking, yes.
I think it did. It surprised me actually how successful it was.